Welcome to footballgameplan.com, where football makes sense. I'm Memory Hunt, the czar of the playbook. Bring you our 2013 CFL season preview. We're taking a look at the Montreal Alouettes, and we're going to break down their offense, their defense, as well as their special teams to see what we can expect this upcoming season from the Alouettes. But first, let's go back to the 2013 CFL draft to see how well they did this past May.
The Alouettes had 9 selections in this year's draft, and they stayed true to form, taking guys that can help them out this year and guys that can help them out down the line in the future. You look at the 2 first-round selections, Edom and Lumbala. Those guys can help right away. And you look down in round 5 with Jake Piotrowski and Simon Ligari, guys that can help them in the future. They always love to build along that offensive line. So this was a very sound draft by the Alouettes. Picking 2 guys from the same program, the Alouettes hit it out of the park in the first round with Steven Lumbala, the running back, and also Mike Edom, the linebacker. Both guys, in my opinion, can have immediate returns on the investment they made this past draft. The only question I have about the Alouettes draft is why not add someone in the secondary? They've added players everywhere else. They added receiver, offensive lineman, D lineman, linebacker, running back. I felt as though a corner or a halfback could have been added to this roster. The Alouettes get an A for their draft. Anytime you get 2 first-round selections and you end up knocking them out the park with talented players, you're doing the right things. And I like what they were able to add later on in the round with their offensive line help that they always do. So the Alouettes are not only building for the right now, they're still continuously building for the future. Anthony Calvillo is entering his 20th CFL season, 15 of which were spent with the Alouettes, and the 3-time CFL Most Outstanding Player is coming off a fine 2012 season where he threw for over 5,000 yards and 31 touchdowns. His accuracy has always been impressive, but his interceptions jumped after 3 consecutive single seasons with double-digit intercepts. He threw 14 picks last season. Now, the biggest concern coming out of this position is who will be the backup. Gone is the very talented and athletic Adrian McPherson. The wily vet Quentin Porter, who had some solid seasons in Hamilton, seems to have the inside track. At 6'5", 228 pounds out of Boston College, Porter could be in prime position to take over in 2014 if Calvillo decides to hang up the cleats. Another concern or / question will be what effect will new offensive coordinator Mike Miller and head coach Dan Hawkins have on the passing games? And that's a question that the Alouettes will have to answer in training camp as they enter the 2013 season. The Alouettes have a deep and talented group of running backs, and I know that running the football more would mean that you would have to take the ball out of Calvillo's hands, but with this stable of backs, it's hard to ignore what they could bring to the table. They also bring back the 2012 leading rusher in Brandon Whitaker, who had over 630 yards last season, and behind him, there's an influx of talent. They bring in Jerome Messam, coach running back Dominic Rose, and the diminutive Colorado Buffalo Rodney Stewart, who played under Dan Hawkins, and the 2013 first-round pick Steven Lumbala out of Calgary. All join the mix and all bring something different to the table. Messam will be your short yardage and goal line back. Rhodes gives you a little bit of everything. And when you look at Stewart, he can help you out as a returner. He also can make you miss in the phone booth, catching the ball out of the backfield. And Lumbala can bring that LaDainian Thompson-like ability. I think this was one of the more complete running backs in the CFL draft. Now, they're sound at the fullback position as well with 8-year vet Deron Diedrich, who's also their short yardage and goal line ball carrier. Montreal was near the bottom of the CFL in rush yardage, yards per carry, yards per game, and with these additions in the offseason, it looks like that area was priority number 1 for Dan Hawkins. Under Mark Trestman, who's now moved on to the Chicago Bears to become the head coach, the Alouettes have been a slot back driven team, and we'll see what changes under Hawkins, but they arguably have the best slot backs in football. Jamil Richardson, S.J. Green, and the newly signed Arlen Bruce coming over from Hamilton. All 3 guys have been named to multiple All-Star squads and bring a lot to the table. Richardson is the most dangerous out the bunch because of his excellent hands, and since joining the Alouettes in 2008, he has gone over 1,000 yards each in every season. The interesting battles that will occur, in my opinion, will take place at the wide receiver position, and there's a good mix of vet talent with Brandon London and Eric Delorley, and newbies like 2013 rookie draft pick Damone Blackman out of St. Mary's, Deron Carter, that's Chris Carter's son, and Wallace Wright. There's a lot of unique talent at the receiver position. If they can get size out there, I think that can help this team out tremendously. Deron Carter is an intriguing guy that I'm looking forward to watching throughout the course of this camp, and if he makes the squad, I think he can have an effect on the season. 6'5", 215 pounds. He has definitely inherited his dad's hands. And also Damone Blackman out of St. Mary's. They have them signed, ready to go in camp, so they're expecting him to have a huge impact in 2013. There's a reason why Anthony Calvillo has been playing at a high level for the last 15 seasons. The Alouettes have one of the best offensive lines in the game. They've consistently drafted well along that offensive front. They've always have youth and talent. Scott Floyd, a 14-year vet, 10-time All-Star, 2-time CFL Most Outstanding Offensive Lineman, is back at the guard position, protecting the interior, along with center Luc Brodeur-Jordan, a 4-year vet who made his first All-Star appearance last season on the team. And you look at the tackle, Broke, a guy that was a 2-time All-Star and in 2011 was named the most outstanding lineman. Like I said before, the Alouettes know their investment is Calvillo. They have to protect him up front. So that's why you see the Alouettes drafting multiple offensive linemen in every draft, or re-signing those guys that are free agents. You want to keep that pipeline stockpiled with talent. And when you look at Calvillo, it's paying off. He's the guy that is the least sacked quarterback in the Canadian Football League. Last season, the Alouettes did a solid job up front. They were tough to run against, second in the CFL in total run defense at 94 yards a game and 5.2 yards a carry, and they also did a fine job in getting to the quarterback with 42 sacks. Defensive end John Bowman, 7-year vet out of Wingate, chipped in with 7 of those sacks after posting double-digit numbers in the previous 3 seasons. But to his credit, he missed the first 3 games of the year, only played in 15 total games last year. Opposite of Bowman is Mike Lockley, a guy that did a solid job as well in his first season with the Alouettes. They're also expecting big things from Amit Paul, who was a first-round pick of the Stamps last year and was a sack machine in college at Wofford. Recovered a lot of his games in the FCS. He finished his career for the Terriers with 23.5 sacks. And I'm a big fan of the interior defensive line with defensive tackle Alan Michael Cash, who had his best season as a pro last year with 28 tackles and 6.5 sacks. Moten Hopkins is another guy that enjoyed his best season for the Alouettes, 6'2", 277 pounds. Hopkins is a guy that uses his quickness to disrupt plays behind the line of scrimmage. Shea Embry and Chip Cox are 2 of the best linebackers in the CFL. Both guys combined last season for over 160 tackles. Embry was tied for the team lead in sacks with 7, while Cox led the team with 4 interceptions. But the Alouettes have always been looking for that third backer to give them a combination of both Embry and Cox, and I think they found that in the 2013 first-round draft pick Mike Edom out of Calgary. At 6'1", 200 pounds, Edom possesses the pass rushing ability as well as the versatility to drop back in deep coverage, almost as a pseudo halfback. Not only will he be able to bolster the front 7, but I think he'll definitely help improve the much-needed pass defense. Some would say that the secondary is the reason why the Alouettes didn't make it to the Grey Cup last year, and maybe that's the case or not, but the Alouettes front office are taking steps to ensure that that doesn't happen again. Now, some of the new additions include former Ticats All-Star Jeff Tisdale and former BC Lions All-Star Byron Parker, and they're going to team those guys up with Gerald Brown, who played well last season for Montreal. I'm also intrigued by free agent signing Kendrick Burney out of North Carolina. He'll add talent to the halfback position. At safety, they're fine with the Angry Bird himself, Kyrus Hebert. Last season, Hebert was all over the football field. He had 48 tackles, 3 sacks, and 2 interceptions. The Alouettes also are expecting big returns from 2 2000 draft picks last season in Lance Milton and also Kenyon Park out of Oregon State. The one thing that's for sure is that new defensive coordinator and DB coach Noel Thorpe will have much more talent at his disposal as opposed to last year where he was a defensive coordinator at the University of Montreal, where his team had the best defense in the CIS. So you can expect the Alouettes to have a much improved secondary in the 2013 season. When you look at the special teams unit, you look at kickoff returner, punt returner, Noel Devine, the former West Virginia superstar, and they're going to need him to put his best foot forward this season. Last year, he averaged over 19.8 yards a return, and they're going to need that to get up to at least 22 to 25 yards a return. I'm expecting some competition from Rodney Stewart, the diminutive 5'6", 195-pound running back out of Colorado, to compete with Devine for that return spot. And you look at kicker Sean White. This guy made 80% of his kicks last year with a long of 52 yards. Definitely has a strong leg, which made him the 2011 East Division Most Outstanding Player. The road to the Grey Cup for the Alouettes goes like this. Number one, they have to play better pass defense. Now, they don't have to be the best, but they just can't be the worst. Similar to what they were last season, they have to improve on what they did in 2012. Number two, a concerted effort to play balance. They have to take some of the pressure off the passing game and Anthony Cavillo by running the football. A lot of talented backs in the backfield now. Give the football to these guys and help play with a little bit more balance. And finally, they have to play winning special teams, whether it be Noel Devine or Stephen Bala or Rodney Stewart. Someone has to be that spark and give Cavillo and that offense a short field to work with, and that starts with the special teams and the return units, both on kickoff return as well as punt return. I have the Alouettes finishing third in the East Division. New coaching staff, new regime, a lot of questions going into the 2013 season. Now, I still believe they'll make the playoffs, but right now I can't put them ahead of Winnipeg or Toronto. We're also going to have to see if the improvements they made defensively will pay off on the back end. So there's some questions going into 2013 for the Montreal Alouettes, but you can never count out an Anthony Cavillo-led team. That's why I think they will make the playoffs, although I do believe they'll finish third in that division. And I also want to give a huge shout out to Alouette fan forums for always showing football game plan support.